In ancient times, when biblical stories were experienced firsthand rather than merely read, Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor of Judea, played a pivotal role in biblical teachings. It is intriguing to consider how he, a man of significant power and responsibility, was entrusted with handling events that would shape the history of the Bible. With all his authority, Pilate sent a detailed report to Emperor Tiberius, narrating occurrences that even the most devout Bible scholars may not know. This report, filled with astonishing information, delves into details that were not preserved in the Gospels, revealing hidden aspects of the Bible's narrative. It's like finding a missing puzzle piece, with each detail adding depth to the biblical teachings we're familiar with. Imagine, for instance, the impact of uncovering an ancient document that sheds light on unknown nuances about the life and works of Jesus, offering a new perspective on events that shaped the Christian faith. Imagining Pilate composing this report takes us back to a period when Roman leaders were not just land administrators, but were also deeply entwined with religious and social matters. It's intriguing to picture Pilate, amid the upheaval in Judea, feeling compelled to relay these occurrences to Emperor Tiberius. This account not only chronicles historical events, but also provides a rare glimpse into the difficulties Pilate encountered, offering a gateway to better comprehend the intricate tapestry of biblical history. The Bible's narrative is replete with enigmas and remarkable discoveries. In 196, an archaeological team headed by Kathleen Canyon made a momentous find that transports us directly to the heart of ancient Caesarea Maritima. This excavation uncovered artifacts that illuminate the biblical era, revealing captivating details about biblical teachings and stories that have influenced generations. Imagine strolling through the very places where notable biblical characters once walked. The team led by Kathleen Canyon, through their diligent excavations, has brought to light relics that offer a deeper understanding of life in Roman Judea. The majestic ruins of Caesarea Maritima provide a concrete glimpse into what the cities mentioned in the biblical narrative were like. Each stone and artifact tells a portion of the broader story of biblical times, letting us peek into the lives and struggles of those who lived then. The significance of this discovery is profound. These archaeological findings not only deepen our knowledge of the Bible, but also validate many biblical narratives, embedding the story of the Bible more firmly in our hearts and minds. The experience of touching a piece of the past, witnessing firsthand the physical evidence of ancient tales, brings biblical teachings into a more tangible reality. Consequently, each new archaeological find continues to bridge the gap between past and present, offering fresh layers of insight and appreciation for all who delve into the rich tapestry of biblical stories. Within the expansive realm of biblical narratives, the Acts of Pilate stand out as a fascinating and mysterious document. Initially part of an apocryphal text, the Acts of Peter and Paul, this particular document gained recognition by being preserved as an alleged original account written by Pilate himself. Envision the excitement of holding a text that might have been authored by one of the most enigmatic figures in biblical history, providing a unique glimpse into the events of that era. The Acts of Pilate are a rich source of information that both historians and theologians find challenging. The authenticity of this document is hotly contested. Some experts assert that it offers a factual recounting of events, while others argue that it might have been embellished by early Christians over the years. This ambiguity introduces an added layer of complexity to biblical stories, urging every reader and scholar to examine the text critically, yet remain open to new interpretations and insights into biblical teachings. The mere existence of the Acts of Pilate provokes deep reflection on the history of the Bible. It's like finding a fragment of a larger narrative where each line can contain revelations that change our understanding of biblical events. The preservation of this document through the centuries is a testament to its importance and the lasting impact it has on those who study the Bible. This account, true or not, serves as a powerful reminder that the search for knowledge and truth is an ongoing journey, full of discoveries and debates that enrich our faith and understanding of biblical stories. In the tangle of biblical stories and biblical teachings, some historical references stand out as beacons of knowledge and enlightenment. Justin Martyr, one of the earliest and most influential church fathers, explicitly mentioned Pilate's report in his letters to Emperor Antoninus Pius, dated 138 AD. This mention is more than a simple reference. It is a testimony to the importance and circulation of this document in the first centuries of Christianity. Imagine then the impact such writings had, shaping the perceptions of early Christians and solidifying crucial aspects of the story of the Bible. Another historical figure who sheds light on this period is Tertullian, a notable theologian who reported Tiberius Caesar's consideration of adding Jesus to the Roman pantheon of deities. This account is not only fascinating, but also revealing, as it shows how the figure of Jesus transcended cultural and religious boundaries, influencing even the most powerful rulers of the time. Tertullian, with his vigorous and argumentative style, highlights the depth of biblical teachings and the lasting influence of biblical stories on Roman society. These historical references not only validate certain aspects of the Bible's story, but they also invite us to explore more deeply the intersection of faith and history. They remind us that biblical accounts do not exist in isolation, but are woven into the fabric of human history. Justin, Martyr, and Tertullian offer us invaluable glimpses of the impact that Jesus and his teachings had on the culture and politics of his time. Thus, we continue to unravel the mysteries of the Bible. Each historical reference is a vital piece that helps to compose the mosaic of the Christian faith. Biblical stories are often shrouded in controversy, and Pilate's report is no exception. The existence of this document has been intensely debated by scholars and theologians over the centuries. Some see it as concrete proof of the events narrated in the Gospels, while others question its authenticity and consider it a later creation to strengthen biblical teachings. This controversy is a reflection of the complexity of the story of the Bible, where every scrap of information is meticulously analyzed and debated. For the early Christians, Pilate's report was of inestimable importance. They considered it additional evidence of the veracity of the events that formed the basis of the Christian faith. This document, even shrouded in controversy, served as a point of reference in his discussions and debates with opponents of the faith. The existence of such a report, true or not, provided an additional narrative that could be used to defend and propagate biblical teachings. Imagine the impact this would have on the minds of the early believers, reinforcing their belief in the story of the Bible. On the other hand, opponents of Christianity were also interested in Pilate's report, often trying to discredit it or reinterpret it for their own ends. This dynamic of acceptance and rejection is fundamental to understanding how historical documents are used and manipulated. The controversy surrounding Pilate's report is more than a simple academic dispute. It exemplifies the ongoing battle between faith and skepticism, a struggle that continues to shape our understanding of biblical teachings. Thus, each new study or archaeological discovery offers us a new perspective on this eternal and fascinating story. Pontius Pilate's letter to Emperor Tiberius is a document that resonates with concerns and tensions of a turbulent time in biblical stories. Pilate begins his greetings with respect and formality, as was customary in his official communications, revealing a man who, despite his power, was keenly aware of the challenges he faced in Judea. This letter is not just a simple correspondence, it is a living testament to the complexities that surrounded Roman administration in a land filled with religious and political fervor, offering a behind-the-scenes glimpse into the story of the Bible. Pilate expresses his concerns about the constant unrest in Jerusalem, a city known for its propensity for riots and conflict. He details to Emperor Tiberius the difficulties in maintaining order and peace in such a volatile region. These accounts reveal the constant pressure on Pilate, who needed to balance Roman administration with local sensitivities. For anyone who studies biblical stories, these concerns echo the tensions and challenges faced by leaders of the time, offering an additional layer of understanding about biblical teachings. In his letter, Pilate also requests military reinforcements, highlighting the urgent need for more troops to control the impending rebellions. This request not only underlines the precarious situation in which Pilate found himself, but also highlights the extent of the Roman Empire and its limitations. Imagine yourself in Pilate's position, trying to maintain order in a land where every decision could trigger a new crisis. This letter, therefore, is not just a cry for help, but a cry from a man burdened by the responsibilities of governing such a complex and challenging region. Adding depth to the story of the Bible, Pontius Pilate, when writing about Jesus, takes us back to a unique moment in biblical history. He portrays Jesus as a preacher of a new doctrine, delivering a message that profoundly resonated with those who listened. This doctrine, rooted in biblical teachings, defied established norms and presented a vision of love, forgiveness, and redemption that captivated the masses. Pilate, from his powerful position, observed with curiosity and perhaps a bit of unease the profound impact Jesus' words had on the people of Judea. Pilate's encounter with Jesus is a scene brimming with significance and tension. He recounts meeting Jesus near the site of Shiloh, where Jesus addressed a crowd with calmness and wisdom. The serenity and insight of Jesus, reflected in his words and actions, made a lasting impression on Pilate. This encounter stands as a crucial moment in biblical narratives, where Roman authority directly confronts divine incarnation, providing a fascinating perspective on the difficulties Pilate faced in trying to comprehend and manage the presence of Jesus. This detailed account highlights the complex relationship between Pilate and Jesus, revealing the Roman governor's struggle to grasp the magnitude of Jesus' influence. The biblical stories capture this encounter as a turning point, where Pilate's authority is challenged by the spiritual and moral authority of Jesus. This moment offers a profound glimpse into the historical and spiritual dynamics at play, illustrating the challenges Pilate confronted while dealing with such a transformative figure. Pilate's physical description of Jesus is a particularly intriguing detail. He describes Jesus as having a heavenly appearance, with golden hair and beard, a countenance that radiated peace and kindness. This image of Jesus contrasts with the appearance of the Jewish listeners, who Pilate describes as having dark beards and more tense expressions. This unique description of Jesus not only enriches our understanding of the biblical accounts, but also raises questions about how Jesus was perceived with those who encountered him. It is a detail that adds a visual and emotional dimension to biblical stories, bringing us even closer to the figure of Jesus. As Jesus preached in Shiloh, his words resonated with echoes of wisdom and truth, challenging established structures and bringing new light to biblical teachings. Pilate, watching closely, saw the crowd around Jesus absorb every word. Jesus' preaching was not just a series of speeches. It was a manifestation of a revolutionary doctrine that promised to change lives and transform hearts. Biblical stories take on a new dimension when we imagine these scenes of teaching and reflection, where each word of Jesus had the power to enlighten minds. One of Jesus' most famous phrases, "Render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's and to God the things that are God's," is a perfect example of his wisdom and ability to deal with complex issues. When asked about Roman taxation, Jesus responded with this phrase, demonstrating a deep understanding of the political and spiritual realities of his time. Pilate, upon hearing this, must have recognized Jesus' intelligence and discernment, realizing that he was no mere agitator, but a spiritual leader of enormous influence. This wise response became a pillar of biblical teachings, a lesson in discernment and balance between earthly and divine responsibilities. Acknowledging Jesus' wisdom and peaceful demeanor, Pilate made the extraordinary decision to grant him freedom. This choice, to let Jesus continue his mission without restriction, was an act of discernment and perhaps a hope that peace might prevail. However, this liberty granted to Jesus incited anger among the Jewish leaders, who perceived him as a threat to their authority. Therefore, Pilate's decision was not merely a political maneuver, but an effort to balance justice and peace amid a turbulent environment. This episode in Biblical Stories underscores the constant interplay between power, spirituality, and the quest for truth. Biblical narratives reveal an escalating tension between Jesus and the Jewish leaders of his time. Jesus, with his revolutionary doctrine, did not shy away from openly criticizing the hypocrisy and pride of the religious authorities. He challenged the established norms, exposing practices he deemed contrary to authentic biblical teachings. These criticisms, spoken with an authority derived from his profound connection with God, sparked increasing resentment among those who saw themselves as custodians of law and tradition. Thus, Jesus' words were both a source of inspiration for many and a direct threat to the prevailing order. In the Praetorium, complaints against Jesus were frequent. Jewish leaders did not simply express their outrage. They brought their complaints repeatedly to Pilate, seeking an intervention that might silence the one who challenged their authority. These complaints reflected religious leaders' fear and insecurity in the face of the growing popularity of Jesus and his biblical teachings. The pressure on Pilate increased as he had to balance the demands of the Jewish leaders with justice and public order. Each complaint was not only an attack on Jesus, but also a reflection of the deep divisions within Jewish society at the time. The possibility of misfortune for Jesus was a constant concern. There were rumors and veiled threats that Jesus could face violence, not only at the hands of the Roman authorities, but also from the Jewish population itself, who could turn against him in moments of religious fervor. The history of the Bible is full of prophets and leaders who faced tragic fates for challenging established power, and Jesus was not immune to these threats. Pilate, aware of these dangers, knew that any decision made regarding Jesus could trigger unpredictable consequences. The rising tension was palpable, and every move was watched closely, setting the stage for the dramatic events that would soon unfold. Pilate, upon receiving guarantees from the Roman Senate, found himself in a delicate position where each decision had profound implications. The assurances offered by the Senate gave him a basis for action, but did not dispel the complexities of the situation in Jerusalem. The tense atmosphere and constant complaints against Jesus weighed on him. With the authority of the Senate in his hands, Pilate carefully considered his next steps, knowing that his actions would reverberate throughout the biblical stories and the history of the Bible. Pilate's hesitation in crucifying Jesus is a moment of deep reflection. Faced with pressure from Jewish leaders and aware of Jesus' innocence, Pilate found himself in a moral and political dilemma. This hesitation reveals Pilate's humanity, a man struggling to find a balance between justice and order. Biblical accounts show us Pilate washing his hands, symbolizing his attempt to free himself from guilt. This iconic gesture is a powerful reminder of the difficulties leaders face in trying to do what is right amid contradictory pressures. To restore tranquility, Pilate adopted measures that he hoped would be sufficient to calm the situation without resorting to drastic action. He was looking for a solution that would avoid revolts and maintain peace, a constant objective in his administration of Judea. However, tensions were high, and the measures taken often seemed insufficient in the face of fervent opposition from religious leaders. Biblical stories show that despite his efforts, Pilate was unable to prevent the crucifixion of Jesus, an event that would forever mark the history of the Bible and the Christian faith. Each decision by Pilate was a step in a larger narrative, where the search for peace and justice was intertwined with divine designs. Historical artifacts have the power to turn biblical stories into tangible realities, and the Stone of Pilate is a remarkable example of this transformation. This inscription, known as the Pilate Stone, is a dedication on a limestone block discovered in 1960 in Caesarea Maritima. This archaeological find provides concrete evidence of Pontius Pilate's existence, the Roman governor mentioned in the biblical accounts of Jesus' crucifixion. For scholars and enthusiasts of Bible history, this stone serves as a direct link to the past, a tangible piece that confirms the narratives many have only encountered in sacred texts. The inscription on the Pilate Stone reads, "To the divine Augustus, this Tiberium Pontius Pilate, prefect of Judea, dedicates." These words, inscribed nearly 2 millennia ago, resonate with us as a testimony of time. The stone is not merely an archaeological artifact. It is a living connection to the biblical narratives, reinforcing the historicity of the events described in the Gospels. The discovery of this stone has added a new dimension to the study of biblical teachings, providing material evidence that complements and enriches our understanding of the Bible's story. Caesarea Maritima, where the Stone of Pilate was found, was an important city during Roman times, serving as an administrative and political center. The discovery of the stone at this location was not merely accidental, but rather a significant revelation that highlighted the importance of Caesarea Maritima in the Roman administration of Judea. For those who explore the depths of biblical stories, this discovery is a powerful reminder that the story of the Bible is not just a set of ancient texts, but a living narrative filled with evidence and artifacts that continue to be discovered, shedding new light about our shared past. The historical relevance of the artifacts found is undeniable, especially when we come across discoveries as significant as the Stone of Pilate. These archaeological finds not only confirm biblical accounts, but also transport us to the time when these biblical stories took place. Each artifact discovered, each inscription deciphered, adds a layer of authenticity and depth to biblical teachings, transforming the story of the Bible into a rich, complex tapestry that we can explore and better understand. The importance of these artifacts extends far beyond simple historical confirmation. They offer us a tangible connection to the past. For Bible scholars and believers alike, these objects serve as silent witnesses from a distant age. They allow us to visualize and almost touch the realities experienced by those who were part of the biblical stories. Each new discovery reminds us that faith and history are deeply intertwined, and that biblical teachings continue to resonate through the centuries, anchored by material evidence. These artifacts are more than just museum exhibits. They are fragments of a larger narrative that challenge us to keep searching, learning, and understanding. The history of the Bible is a continuous journey where each discovery brings us closer to the context and truth of those ancient times. By valuing these findings, we enrich our understanding of biblical teachings and reaffirm the importance of preserving and studying our historical and spiritual heritage. Thus, the journey to understanding biblical stories continues, always offering new revelations and profound insights. If you're interested in having a Bible like the one we use in our studies, check out the link in the first pinned comment. If you enjoy our content and can support our channel, consider buying us a coffee through Buy Me a Coffee. Additionally, if you can purchase a crucifix, we also have a link in the first pinned comment. We greatly appreciate your support. God bless, and see you in the next video.